You want me to close the
Okay.
door?
Yeah, please, thank
I
you.
got it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good morning. It is 8:04. We'll call the DDA Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 meeting to order. And Becky, if you could just do a roll call.
Well, I will do a roll call. First, I want to apologize. I don't have extra agendas for anyone. I walked in this morning and the further was on paper jam. I tried all the tricks I know. I couldn't get it on jam, so we have that this morning. Okay, call to order. Lacey. Here. Graham. Smith. Here. Brown.
Here.
Eshelbrenner. Here. Larson. Wheaton.
Here.
Crummers. And Toma. We do have a quorum. So,
Thank you.
Gail, if I could interrupt just before we get going any further. This is Tim Knudsen from Beckett and Rader. He's the city planner. He has these, I think you're calling them storyboards that you brought.
Well, it's a actually an existing conditions board with character images, or sorry, character zones established. Right.
So he was gonna bring those a little later, but since he's here, I just thought he might as well take the time to fill you in just for 1 or 2 minutes about what these boards are and what we're gonna do with them. They're going in the lobby for comment, but if it comes from Tim, you know, that we'll listen. Maybe if you have questions for him, you can.
Well, this is the board I brought over this morning, which is a map of the downtown DDA district. Within that district, we've established 10 different character zones. And so these are these different color boxes here that are keyed out at the bottom of the plan. And those zones are established basically on the character of that block of the street that we're discussing, okay? They're also loosely defined, so don't take them too literally, because they're also defined so that we can organize subsequent drawings and take, for example, this character zone and blow it up so that it takes up the whole sheet and we can see it in much greater detail. Reason I'm dropping this off this morning is because I want to try a really simple, basic introductory exercise. So we're asking anybody who's interested to take a look at this map and leave feedback in one of 3 categories. So we have a plus, a minus, and a delta. Okay, so the plus would be anything positive that you see or that you appreciate in the existing streetscape. The minus would be maybe challenges or things that you think detract from the streetscape or things that might be repaired. The delta represents opportunities. Okay, so maybe not something that needs to be improved or something that you like about the existing streetscape, but something that you see, you know, as an opportunity for improvement as we put together some concepts. Okay, so I kind of started the process by putting a sticky note for each plus, minus, and delta. I wrote wide sidewalks on Main Street. It's fantastic that this block of Main, especially on the north side, has such broad sidewalks. The minus, I wrote street trees are smaller on the south side of the Main Street. Well, I'll know why that is. And the delta was the opportunity to redo trees and streetlights, which is really, you know, kind of the primary focus of this exercise, although we're looking at the whole streetscape comprehensive. Okay. So I'm gonna leave this out in the lobby with sticky notes, these sticky notes on here, and anybody here or anybody in the public, please encourage them to, if they'd like to take a look at the plan and leave their input regarding the existing conditions, if they like, don't like, and what they think might be a chance to be included.
It's gonna be out there for how long?
I'm gonna leave this out here until next month when we bring in the preliminary concepts.
So then we'll be promoting it and getting the news out that come to City Hall and look at it. He just happened to be here to drop it off today, so took advantage of it.
And so when we pick this up with all of the, hopefully it's populated and the sticky notes don't have to go near the element, they can go anywhere where you have space. Hopefully it's populated with sticky notes. We'll scan it or take a picture of it and it becomes part of the, you know, the information that informs the concept and also gets included in the report. So you can refer back to the input that we got. Okay. Please encourage anybody who might be interested to come and leave feedback.
So if we came and populated it with sticky notes, the sticky notes will cover up the image. could we have a second one? That then you would leave the one that you could look at and then the one that you would populate?
Yeah, I mean, we could perhaps maybe even flip over one of the boards that we have out there, just do it as a flag. And stick on the wall.
Would there be a problem if I was to pull the sticky notes off every day, just put them in a folder?
That, if you're willing to go through that, not at all.
I'll do that, because that way people aren't copying, we're getting fresh ideas. from
Well,
creative
that's good, yeah, so I won't come in and leave 10 sticky notes the same.
Right, that work with you guys? I'll just make a point that if I see it filled up too much, I'll pull the sticky notes out and just put it in a folder.
I was not like messes, so.
So really free form, no structure. This is our initial effort and input. We really didn't have this in our proposal, but we did this in a couple of other projects and it was really informative. So I'd like to try this. That's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Stay on the road.
Okay, our agenda item number 3 is the approval of the consent agenda. For the board, has everyone read the note? Okay. Not used to it being. Okay, our first is the approval of the consent agenda. So for the board, has everyone read the notes? And do you have any questions, changes, comments?
Yeah, I would make a comment. If you did check the minutes, we did, Gail and I talked after the last meeting. The minutes are written in a different format. They're much more abbreviated. We have everything on Zoom at City Hall, at the city website, and we have it on YouTube. So it's preserved and all the little details are there. Gail suggested that it was long and laborious, and it was a big time sucker. So I also attended or zoomed into a MML meeting last October that talked about new ways of approaching minutes and what was actually required. And I kind of stuck to their recommendations that was done by the MML. So if it's all right with everybody, I'm going to move that going forward. And you do have the financial reports in there. Just briefly touch on those hard copy in front of me because I'm from the printer. But I started a different format with you last year that let you know in each line item what had been spent that month and where it went. It does not conform to the way Nick does his financial planning every month. There are always timing problems, and that we tried it for a year, it just didn't work. So going forward, I'm going to, and you'll see at the end of the meeting today, we have an Ice Fest budget. So when we do something like a project, I'm going to have a budget that I will show you that where we are in the budget and how much we spent. And so we continue to do the line item, and we'll just continue to use Dick's report as the official tracking of the money, because that's what's audited, that's what it's meant to be. So you have the 2 of them in there at the end of the year from last year, and then for the first 2 months of this year. You see how this works.
Excellent. Anyone need a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comment on anything that is not on the agenda. Okay, so
Sure, why not? Harbor Springs Chamber, we have State of the Community tomorrow. Completely sold out crowd at Birchwood, new location this year. We needed more space, and it ended up we needed more space. We actually, no, we're at exactly 180 and we have 180 seats. So I think it's going to be a really good event. We do not record that event. We don't have the capabilities at this point. Something that we look at, but and then after that we have Bowling Down Main on April 4th. So join us on Main Street. Hopefully we won't have this outside. Yeah. So
that's it. Okay.
Real quick, we have the city manager interviews on Saturday. Starting at 8:30 is public comment section for at least a half an hour. Anybody who wants to give information to council on Any public comment, and then the interviews will start right at 9 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, and then one of the candidates accepted a job that council had chosen to do. He accepted a job in Escanaba, so we're down to 4 candidates. So, but that'll be Saturday. We'll take an hour break from noon to 1.
So,
Is that going to be on Zoom?
It is not, and the reason that I'm not doing it on Zoom is because if you're the 1 o'clock interview and you get on and watch the previous 3, you're gonna answer the questions pretty well. Because you're gonna have heard the other 3 people answer the questions. So I'm gonna do my best. Actually, I'm gonna work today to try to make sure it gets recorded and display it later. But a lot of people have asked that, and I don't think it's fair to the 1 o'clock person to be able to watch the other 3. They can log on as John Doe and watch the other 3 interviews, and they're gonna do a really good job. So to make it fair to everybody.
Smart thinking.
So, the 3 candidates before the first won't be in the room.
No, none of the candidates will be able to sit in. We've talked to Frank at the last council meeting about that. He does not allow the candidates to sit in and watch.
They should.
Yeah, they have.
That's typical.
Yeah.
Interviews.
Yeah,
School board did a similar thing.
no, they shouldn't be.
That's it. Sorry.
Excellent.
Thank you.
it was fast.
And Judd Hill is, I put on our Facebook that we might open it. But and it's gonna be Thursday or Friday, but I don't know if you looked at the forecast for Sunday. They're calling like 5 to 8, maybe up to 10 inches of snow. So we are gonna keep it closed till probably next week. So, so thank you.
Well,
Bye, see you guys, I'm leaving Monday.
if you can get to your destination.
Do that. I've done that a lot of bad weather.
Okay, next agenda item, old business. Becky, have anything? Anyone have any old business? Okay, under new business, Becky, I'm gonna let you talk through the recommendations.
Sorry, still rolling. I'm gonna have to read off there if you wanna go ahead, because I don't have paper, so. The promotions committee has been, talking about, and put it in the budget for next year, a revamp of the website, a rebuild is, I guess, what it's being called. Fusion Digital is a partner of KIRS, which does our social media. They've worked together many times in the past, and they gave us a estimate what it would cost to do this. The promotions committee worked on a list of new ideas that they wanted to be sure that was incorporated in the website, but the Fusion Digital will be doing the design and go with the input of the committee. The proposal is for $3,000. That was included in the budget for 2026. We will have a hosting, maintenance, and support fee of $59 a month. Currently, we pay $296 annually, but that's just for hosting. We don't get we can't call them up and say, oh my God, the drone show was canceled, can you change it? We can't do anything like that. In fact, they don't give any back end support of changing anything that you need to change. That all has to be done by volunteers. So it's a little bit more, but at least we'll get a much better service, and we'll benefit from that a lot. So the recommendation from the promotions committee is that the DDA approve this contract, and we want to get the work going so that we can get the website up and functional by the summer season or before.
Any questions from the board? Yes, Maggie.
So, I can talk about the website or questions on the website. Did you guys set up like certain, goals that you wanted them to achieve that compared this year to next year with the update with the website?
I think the website in and of itself will, once it's functioning in a much better way, will obviously show growth. But we have stats from this year, and we can look at stats from next year to be able to figure out where we are on, visitors, and the math will work. Is easier to update. Everything, like Cora did most of it, and then like the Ice Fest, I did all of that and posting and that kind of thing. So it's just, this will be a big upgrade in terms of what it can do, as well as, getting it out there. I think people will visit it more often.
Yeah, and I just want to backtrack. So we talked about a ecosystem of Harbor Springs, adding the resort focus, the off-season, pulling from the ski resorts and cross pollination and so forth. And with our search engine optimization, I just wanted to, you know, like identify the certain seasons that we want to see an uptick with the certain people that we want to be bringing into town. And especially on the Ice Fest, looking at your data points here, I see that we have the measurements on what we did last year with the sculptures to this year, but we don't have the outcome. Like, you know, did we get more people coming into town? And I know that we will be able to do that with the geo fencing and kind of know where these people are coming from, but also the dollar amount that maybe the growth of the businesses had. And I don't know, Bonnie, if you have any of that information, but that truly is outcome information that I would think that the downtown development would want to see, that we're pulling in, trying to have the growth of the town for locals. Like, are we pulling in locals from Petoskey coming in for restaurant week? You know, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to measure it, but it was something that we might want to ask them to do, because I know that with Facebook, you can identify by age, income, location. And those are some things I would just think that you'd want to set up some measurements that can be validated from the next time period to see what that growth is.
I've experimented a decent amount with that with my business. And I think it's really hard. It's really, I mean, you can see who views the website, just like Facebook does, but you can't necessarily see from who views the web without like doing geofencing and then tracking that individual's every move to see if the individual that goes on the website then follows through. So it is really hard. I mean, and I think that I'm a freak about data. I love it so much. I want to know everything. I want to know every move and how well it's, especially because I run a business. So I want to know every move and if it has an effect or if it's working. But I think that some of these things will be able, I spent probably at least the 1 year that I redid the whole mapping system that had completely like, I think that the app that we were using went away. So I had to find a new app. I think I probably spent 20 hours on that alone. It's not really super user friendly for what we want to do. And I think being able to pay someone, I mean, I think normal hosting is like, can be up to like $29 a month. So you're only paying like $30 more to have someone manage like updates, which is incredible. Opposed to trying to get someone to do it volunteer. I have a laundry list of things that were given to me by Becky probably a year ago that I was never could find time to do.
Well, I agree, but this is, I think we have this being one of the buckets that's expensive for the DDA. And I just would like to, you know, maybe it's, you know, other ways that we can, and the geo fencing doesn't seem to be very expensive. You know, this is a new tool that we have that we can look into, but we're spending, you know, almost $20,000 in this category of social media. And that seems to be significant that we should, I mean, it's nice to have a wonderful website, right? And it looks good and so forth, but is it really doing what we need as a town of Harbor Springs to grow and to maintain our economy of the local business, of the resort? And, you know, in the resort business, you know, you see, I know for some of the retailers that I experience with, they're wanting to have their clientele come back into their store multiple times because that's where they're making their money during that time period. And it is a measurement that they follow. So I just think that we should kind of think about certain benchmarks that we want to achieve is my, you know, if we have.
100%. I just think that we have to start somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Because right now what we have is not a functional, it's not doing us any service.
Right.
It has not been updated very much. It's complicated to adjust and change. Definitely not user friendly. First, I mean, I have multiple websites that I manage, and this one's definitely not very user friendly the way it's set up because it was set up by someone who had a full plan in place. And the way that I at least do it when I'm, you know, volunteering time to do it is a little differently. So I think that once we have like something that's new, then we can be able to start at a baseline and see. But I think that having the information out there of what we're doing, businesses that are in town, when people are open, what they're open for, you know, if they're seasonally open, if they're open year round, you know, we can have all these different things on the website that show all that. And I think that's valid information because, you know, I don't know if the chamber has any part on their website that explains like who's in Harbor, specifically in Harbor Springs. I know you guys have chamber members outside of Harbor Springs. So who is open year round, who's not open year round. I mean, I think that that would be something that's huge in general there, right?
And we'll see based on the feedback from the retailers. I'm just trying to get the thought track around measurements of outcome of what the DDA wants to achieve. And I just know that based on listening to city council and everything, we are a resort community. We get a little conversations about we're getting more focused around tourism, but if you're looking at the money that you're making, it's that window. But then on the off season, like the fall, the Ice Fest, we need to pull the locals. We need to pull from Petoskey. We need to pull from the ski resorters. And is there any measurements to show, yes, we're achieving those goals? That's all I'm asking for us to think about.
I think you'll be pleased when we get to the geofencing that's coming up next. I think that'll be, as Cora said, these are starts. We have not done these things before, so to start with a functional website and then get the geofencing going, and then we'll just take steps and continue to go along that road. It's all necessary. No argument.
Are there any comments? Karen?
Just sort of curious about Fusion Digital and KRS. You guys ever have meetings with them to tell them your ideas and what you would like to see going forward with your websites? Do they attend any of the meetings here?
So every promotions meeting, basically Summer attends
Oh, okay.
in person or on phone call or Zoom.
That's who it is.
So we get an update of our social media stats and all of those things, so we see those. Obviously, the website is new, it's not very, we have one, but she doesn't manage it currently.
Gotcha.
So we don't have any website data from her at this point, but we do get monthly updates from Summer on all of that. In person, or if she can't attend, she at least sends in her info.
Anyone on Zoom?
No questions.
John is on Zoom, but
John and
Yeah,
Victor.
I have any questions. Okay, excellent. Okay, so we need a motion.
I will
Okay.
absolutely make a motion for this. I think it's a great idea and I think it's awesome. I've been waiting for this to come.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have a recommendation, a first and a second, that from the promotions committee to approve the Fusion Digital for the website rebuild. And I'd like to just to take a vote, Sarah.
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Yes, got it there. Yes, from me, Tom?
Sure.
Yes.
Maggie, yes, excellent, okay. Okay. So the next is the recommendation from the promotions committee to approve funding for the merchants training seminar, again, going back to summer. So Sarah, you're well deep into this.
So we, as a promotions committee, would like to bring in Summer to do a workshop with merchants for helping them sort of create social media posts and learn about what is the best use of their personal social media. And she's done these in Petoskey and Boyne City all over. But the first one we're looking at is kind of a 101. It would look at a lot of Canva, how you just design some really basic graphics to post. So we would be thinking about doing 2 of them, one in the spring and then one in the fall. With like 8:30 start time, a little bit of networking, and then an hour's worth of just basic information where people can ask questions and actually practice it. We would invite everybody in CBD. And so it would be 2 trainings, each would be $500 for a total of $1,000. We figured we'd hold it here, coffee, pastries, etc. But obviously Summer does, our social media and she posts original content, but the more that businesses post their own content, she can repost that, which just creates that much more traffic. So, more is better in this situation. So it would hopefully make people feel more comfortable doing their own, who maybe aren't involved, or learn a little bit about the importance of it if they have not really started on that social media.
Any questions from the board?
So I have two things on this. When I was reading through this, the other day, oh gosh, I don't remember what year it was, but Summer and Stephanie Baker did a conference at the Perry Hotel. It was an all-day long conference. It was called 818 Conference. And, my old boss at the time told me I needed to go to it. So I went to it. It was great. There are things that I learned about. There was a bunch of different like roundtables you could sit in on about different things. Some of it was like Canva related, Pinterest related. And it was just kind of like an intro to all of these things. Social media posting. I learned about a social media posting app there that I use currently for my business still. That I didn't get to put in place. I go through the notes from that 8-hour conference regularly to figure out things that I could be doing better. So I definitely think it's huge, and just even an hour of something like that would be incredible. Because the information that they have given in the past. My only hesitation on this is, how can we guarantee that we're gonna have people show up? Because when we did a, like, I don't remember what we called it, it was like a merchant outreach thing, honey, maybe you were there, it was at the pier, and there was like 3 people that came, and we were basically trying to gauge, it was a little different setup. I mean, this was maybe my first year on the DDA, and we were trying to have like a merchant outreach, and we were trying to gauge what everyone's feedback was, what people wanted, if they wanted bike racks, if they didn't want bike racks, if they want trash cans, and we were just trying to like talk to all the merchants, and no one really came. So I guess my only big question is, have we kind of put feelers out to merchants if they'd be interested in it?
We understand that
Yeah,
it isn't, we're not gonna fill this room
Yeah.
with people. Our expectations are, if we can help some,
yeah,
that is the best that we can start with. Hopefully then also the word might get out that, oh, this actually was really helpful. And by the second one,
yeah.
we would, have more people attend. And then with the idea that possibly it could become something more continuous or something we can't guarantee it. Now, we're gonna try our best to, get the word out over and over and talk to people in person and personally invite them and make sure that, it's not just like gonna go in the newsletter and be like, please come. We're gonna have to do some like, walking around, personal invites and that kind of thing. So if, it's word of mouth and it's trying to encourage it, but we understand, we don't have a goal of getting 50 people in the
Yeah.
door. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I know that's probably not gonna happen.
My only thoughts with that is I think that it would be great, but I think it'd be great, like almost on a trial, like I don't know if it's something we can approve, but my thoughts would be to approve for like the first one, kind of see how it goes, opposed to contracting for both of them, just in case it doesn't work out well. Not that it wouldn't be something we could still try again in the future, even if it didn't work out well. It could be just we're like getting the word out there, or having a bunch of people say they're interested, but they couldn't make the day that we end up. Things like that. So those are my thoughts.
So could we set this up to be a virtual as well? So let's say they can't be here in person, but you could do it on Zoom so that they're at least listening to it, or
So it's supposed to be more, and the ones it's more hands-on, so it's really hard to do. It's not like for lecturing in front of everybody, it's more of like, let's try to do this. And that's really hard to do from in a Zoom, like a classroom situation, those are really hard.
I actually think this would be beneficial, especially if you're doing the outreach, you're gonna find out who is doing the social media for each storefront. And so you're creating a relationship there. And, especially if we want to get something out and you can utilize that individual of getting I just think contact is always important. And so I don't see anything negative about this. I think it's a start to, but I think definitely if we methodically do the outreach, find out who the individual is, have that contact person because they're valuable to the storefront. And that creates a relationship that we should be talking to. So I think it's a good idea.
And the plan is like June 11th, I think we said.
Tentative date.
So we're hoping also that there's a few more people. Like a few more stores are already open. So we're not, not right now where we've got 4 people.
I would have to look up and see, but I think what we did was like in May, maybe early
So,
May.
and that was part
So
of our.
that was part of it. Like there was places that were not.
Summer, we all know July's not an option.
No.
But, you know, June-ish before anything really is crazy, but most places are open.
I did a workshop with Marcy Wolf way back when, and she had everybody bring their iPad or something so that you were doing
Yes.
it on time with
Yeah,
them.
that's the goal, is encouraging people to bring a device as
Yeah.
well. And if
So
they're
it
not
wouldn't work with
there,
a Zoom or
yeah.
anything.
you know, if they're not up to that point, even then maybe looking over someone's shoulder if that's the way it needs to be, but hopefully very hands-on in that sense.
Any comments?
So, only people in the CBD would be invited?
Yes.
I mean, actually, I'm open to if you want to have others, because when we're trying to off seasons pull from Boyne or pull from other areas or in the surrounding area that's help our town, I mean, maybe, I don't see a negative. If it's a flat rate of 500 to 1,000, we have a hard time getting people there.
The reality is that our way that our funding goes is we're only allowed to provide services and things like this for people who are in the CBD. So
Could they pay a fee?
They could pay a fee.
They could pay a fee, yeah, that would make sense. Like a nominal fee, $25 or something.
So what I was thinking is that, you know, not every store has a social media guru that does their pages. But there may be many people in the area that would love a job, you know, for a store. And so if it's a networking idea, that might be another reason to open it up to people that wanna maybe delve into CBD.
I think 25, somebody thought that, I think that's pretty nominal. I think it's worth at least 50 to someone who does not pay into the special assessment and does not contribute to the TIF, I think. So if you would like us to, if that's what the board would like, we can open it up. It might be difficult reaching those people. I don't have an email list for them. It'll be time consuming to, you know, we could mail things to them, I guess, but
yeah, we put it in the chamber newsletter, but we could also just post it on our social media that says that if you own a business in the CBD, you are welcome, invited to come at no charge. But I think that, you know, we also maybe need to investigate if we're looking at extending it to Emmett County or however far we're thinking of going, you know, however far, I mean, our reach from social media is way farther than Emmett County. But if we're thinking about doing that, then do we need to cap it? Do we need to?
if we can.
Yeah, do we need to like kind of have it, you know, figure out who's actually gonna come so we don't end up with, you know, 40 people in this room trying to work on, because then in an hour, you know, if you're trying to do individual help with 40 people, it's really not gonna go as well. You know, when I did the work with them before, we were in round tables with like 6 to 8 people, I think, for each table. So it was really you were able to get a lot done because it was just a lot of help and guidance. So.
Any other discussion? Okay. So the recommendation is to approve the funding for the merchants training seminar, which now I don't know if in here is the time to discuss any $50, any $25, whatever, or approve the budget as it is and work through those things. So
Guess put that in the motion.
I will make a motion to contract to provide the training with the stipulation that if anyone is not a member of the CBD, they're welcome to join at the fee of $50 per person.
do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. So the motion on the table is to recommend the promotions committee approve to approve the funding for the merchants training seminar with the stipulation that if you do not live in the CBD, there is a $50.
Work,
I'm
or
sorry.
have a business interest in the CBD.
So you only have to work, you only have to live here, I'm sorry. Okay, if you work in the CBD, you have a business in the CBD, it's free, and if not, now this is all convoluted, I'm so sorry. But if you're not in the CBD, $50 charge to attend.
Correct.
Excellent. Any questions and comments from the public? Okay, so we have I have a first, have a second. Sarah? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. No.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yep.
This is from staff because it, both the promotion and the enhancement committees would benefit, the whole board will benefit from this. And Maggie, I think this is, the first steps to what you're talking about. When Beckett and Rader, they have mentioned that we don't have, that kind of data. And we need to get started in that, and it's something I've known all along too, and it is, specified in the downtown planning. But we need some market research, so they have suggested Cobalt Community Research, and they've someone that they've worked with many times in the past. They are quite affordable, I'm very confident. When I reached out to them, bingo, right back, and you know, the email trail has been, was very, very responsive. He gave us a proposal for actually, I think it's $19.90, but $2,000 for, that would get us a year's worth of data. And it would be collected through geofencing, and it would include the whole entire city limits. Now, we can't spend money outside the city limits, but in talking with Jeff Grimm, he said, hey, the city really needs that as well for planning. They don't have that kind of data either. So he's planning is decided that they can kick in half of it. And so it would be $1,000 cost to us and $1,000 cost to them. Now the city, this is interesting, Maggie, that will help you from something else you said. The study would begin April of, no, it won't help, because we can go back even 2 years, but I've talked to him right now about the study beginning April 1st of 2025, and then going to March 30th of this year, so that then we have this, all of last year's data right away, we'll have it. And then we could do this every single year if we want to see trends. It won't include ISFS from last year, that's what I was initially thinking. But we can see trends going forward. We'll be able to see, you know, how was spring in 25 and how was it in 28, you know, and you can, those are the things that you really want to see, are the trends as you go forward. So, and you don't have to, we wouldn't have to do, we could just do snapshots going forward too. So but this first year we would get that full data to have and to compare with this in the future. So it's the recommendation from staff that the board approve this $1,000, and so that we can begin, collect the data, the guy's ready to go. So I can't explain to you how this is done. I don't think Cora can even explain to you how this is done, but it's done so that.
When you sign your cell phone agreements, and there's like 34 pages of fine print.
Yeah.
That's
All your location.
Right.
Yeah, they know where you are, and they know how many times you.
I'm not carrying your phone, they don't know where you are.
So it's anybody who carries their phone.
Yeah.
And I guess if you don't have a phone, then probably, I don't know, you need to have a phone,
People
so,
don't carry them with them now,
well,
which is great.
and they may do that
And
on purpose, you know,
if
I
you
don't.
can.
This is what we have to work with, so we'd really like to get started on this or full project.
I just have one question.
Sure.
The dates on there,
Mhm.
the study will begin April 1st, 2025.
Yep,
So we're going back for
Yeah.
that. Okay, so.
so then we don't have to wait an entire year.
It's already out there
It's
someplace.
already there. It's not like we have to do anything to collect this data. It already exists. So
Yeah.
basically, we're just purchasing data that already exists, which is
Great.
really wild to me. The whole thing has been
Yeah.
really interesting, really fascinating, because I knew nothing about any of this, and I'm, like I said, a data freak, so I really like it. So I thought it was really cool that we could just say, because I was thinking how awful it would be when we first started this, like, oh, we're gonna have to wait an entire year to get the information. And then finding out, no, we don't. The information already exists, we just have to go back and get it and purchase it from someone, so.
It's pretty amazing.
I make a motion.
I second it.
To approve the $1,000, okay.
Okay.
So in the deliverables, they're talking about, this is visitor research. And so for Jeff Grimm to spend half for the city, will Cobalt commit to enough deliverable on resident resident points? I think that is super important. And I'm just wondering if that's been made clear enough to Colbart that breaking out the visitor versus the resident is clear enough in this study. I mean, it's fantastic material. We just want to make sure that for the downtown area, because I think what we're trying to do is make sure that the downtown visitors know how many of the actual residents they're collecting and in their stores and in their traffic.
In the large breakout of what we saw, that's actually what's gonna happen. We'll be able to see where everyone's located. The city found it interesting because they'll actually be able to see, I mean, not specifics of who you are, or they'll be able to see how many residents are actually in the city of Harbor Springs that are actual residents that are actually here year round, opposed to who are saying they're here year round, but they're actually not. So we'll actually have those percentages. Before we were having a guess of what those percentages are based off of census data and what people actually report or say. But now we'll actually be able to see what our percentages of residents versus, resort people are, who are within the city of Harbor Springs. And then they'll also be able to break that down further from the city of Harbor Springs to the CBD, to be able to know how many people are repeat visitors to stores to Harbor Springs, and whether they are local, whether they are from Petoskey, whether they are from downstate, whether they are from out of state.
Right, and so as a deliverable, will it be any kind of age breakouts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Age,
income.
education, but also I think it's going to be interesting because they'll show just when people come into the town, when people are leaving the town, be it the resort, how we need to adjust based on the movement that's taking place going forward, because we have seen changes. And our demographic, is it growing? Is it shrinking? So we'll be able to get a lot of that information in there. I think that all the data is there. You just have to say you are curious about this, and they'll be able to break it down for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the chamber, yes, for the outskirts, does that interest you for participation?
We can't afford it, and our members are so far reaching that it's not gonna be, but.
I mean,
But
it's
super
interesting.
interesting information. Yeah, and it would be
For chamber
useful for chamber events.
Street music.
Yeah, so I mean, those, we are like,
Yeah.
but, so the things that are in downtown that we do, it would be really, and I like that it will include Olive City, because that is really important. I mean, you've got uptown and what's going on uptown. It's not just about, for me, it's not just about downtown. So
The reality is that we are choosing to recommend to pay for this data, but it's not gonna be our secret. It's
Yeah.
gonna be accessible for everyone. It's gonna be information for everyone, for the chamber, for the city, for businesses, for residents, I mean, for probably really whoever is interested in it, because it's great data to have. It really helps businesses, it helps people. It's just a great tool. I mean, it's definitely a creepy tool, but it's super, super helpful. And I think it's really great. And I think it's, for what we're trying to do, we need a baseline, what we were talking about. And this is a really, really great place to start with the baseline, especially thinking we're able to start from last year and not what I was thinking, where we were gonna have to wait a whole year to get this information, so.
And so can we give them the dates of the events that have taken place in that year's time?
We don't have to.
We don't have to, we can just.
It'll just be there. The information will be
Okay, so-
there.
Yeah, so you guys will then
Analyze it.
mine that. Okay.
Excellent. We have a first. Did you second?
I
We have a
seconded.
second. Okay, so we have a first and a second to recommend from the staff to approve the funding for the market study. Any questions from the board? No? Okay, Maggie?
Yes.
Tom?
Sure.
You? Yes.
Yes.
Cora?
Yes.
Sarah? Okay, unanimous, great.
When are we gonna get the information?
That was gonna be my fault.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
It's excellent.
Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, now we're down to Sarah, the Downtown Promotions Committee for their committee report.
Okay, a lot of what we talked about, we've already talked about, so I'm not gonna review in detail. But like I said, Summer phoned in for our meeting, and so we did get a lot of updates from January and February on data from Instagram and Facebook, how many posts they've made, how many reels, all of that. We obviously discussed the website, and the workshop from her. We have a Nice Fest final report, which I'm gonna get to in just a second. And then we discussed the shopping map and the wayfinding. So the map from last year is going to stay pretty much the same, but we now have some much better pictures. So it will be updated with new businesses and updated pictures. And Becky and Gail are working on that. So it should hopefully be out by Memorial Day.
The website or the wayfinding signs?
The wayfinding map.
The map,
This-
the maps. Oh.
Those signs will not be updated this year because of costs, and so it will be next year that we do that. But the map will be updated with this, and the big pictures will be. So
Maps did we order last year?
You know what? I don't know off the top of my head.
And I just want to know, like, how many did we go through?
That's fine.
Do we need to, so we did multiple orders or?
No, I did one order and I do have some left over, but I'll have to go back and look at that and I'll order accordingly.
And is that map digital based on?
it will be the same map that goes on the website.
Website,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yes, so as soon as we have that up, we'll have the same, basically the same information, but and it will be interactive, so like you can click on it and it goes to the business's website, things of that.
And then also we put on the wayfinding signs, the QR code, and then we can make the QR code. I have access to that, so we can make it so it changes, so it will now redirect to the new website. Perfect. So then it's all like, when you see the map, if you wanna look at it that way, because some people, that's the only way they operate, so. Yeah, exactly, and then they have the map there, or they can get it at pretty much all of our businesses, I know, and many more businesses have the map too, the paper one.
From Ice Fest, just as our sort of final wrap up, this was our 10th year, 9th year, ninth year. And we did talk to businesses, and get information. A lot of it is anecdotal. You know, it's really hard to collect like money wise from merchants. It's not really something that everyone really wants to share necessarily, but the overarching idea was that foot traffic was way up. Business was up for 95%, I would say, of everybody that we had. And even those that weren't, they said, you know, it was still great. There were people around, that kind of thing. So we do have some data in sort of more anecdotal ways. And then we have, you know, we have numbers of some other things. We added, this year, we added the Cocoa Trail. So people could go to different places and have warm up, which on that Saturday was important, and have some hot chocolate. We increased the horse-drawn carriage to 2, which was always busy. So we had 1 last year, we now had 2, and it was still a constant line. Face painting, we did at the toy store, and Nikki sponsored that. We had a line all the way through this, it snaked through the store for 2 hours. So, and then the drone show, which was a huge hit, obviously was rescheduled to Saturday night from Friday because of the weather. But it actually may have, we kind of discussed that it actually may have helped everything because people came into town Friday. When it didn't happen, they still visited restaurants, and then came back Saturday night and then again visited restaurants or other people did. So it was one of those sort of silver linings to a slightly very stressful situation at the moment. We also saw an increase in the number of ice sculptures that we that were sponsored. So the pre-carved went up about 10.5%. We did lower the price in general of the regular pre-carved and live demos after hearing feedback from merchants that it was expensive and they wanted to participate, but how do we make it more feasible? We had increased lives as well and some bigger ones. We served more hot dogs and Dusty Dogs donated some and they also had coupons, which was fun. We got more money in donations that were given to the Harbor Springs Food Pantry and hot dog stand. And we intentionally increased where we put sculptures and activities in hopes of getting it further down Main Street and getting people out of the park, in the park, but also out of the park. So not doing away with the park, but trying to distribute people throughout town and get them to other stores. We also had a little bit different scavenger hunt with that sort of intentional, you have to walk around kind of thing. I think the feedback that we have really does reinforce how important Ice Fest is, not only economically, which we really, I mean, that is part of our goal. We want to support the businesses, but our other goal is we're creating a community and we want to have these events that people come downtown and have a good time downtown. So it's not just that, you know, this store made more money, but it was that you got people down here and they had a good time and they have a good feeling of being downtown. These are some of the comments from the businesses. As I said, we have a little bit more anecdotal information, but traffic and sales, traffic was like open house, which is, you know, if you think of open house, that's a good, it's a good one. So we do plan to take feedback from this year and expand hopefully something for Friday and Saturday nights, given what we saw this year and getting people down here. Restaurants had long lines, and it can't happen without volunteers in this room as well as outside of it, the Parks and Rec, those kind of things. Local businesses, obviously the event is fully sponsored, so we need all the businesses in the CBD as well as outside of it that sponsor the sculptures. And I also have the financials, which I can share. Okay, you can see on the screen, maybe. So our revenue was $34,358, which is all sponsors this in terms of ice sculptures and other money that came in, and our expenses at the bottom with the drone. And we've discussed how we, you know, can change some of those in terms of advertising, but it does not. We budgeted into our budget $6,000 for the event from the DDA because, like other events, we feel like it's important, and we want to contribute to this event, similar to the Santa's Workshop and the Skeletor, that kind of thing. We budgeted $6,000, but because of the sponsorship, we only had to contribute $5,008. So we didn't even have to give as much as we thought we would, and the rest of it was all full sponsorships. So, did I miss anything?
No, that's great. Great.
Questions?
Amazing, awesome.
Yeah, really.
And again, I know we talked about originally thinking we might take a loss on it this year, and that
Yes.
was incredible, like, just, like, that's awesome.
Especially with lowering costs of.
With lowering
what we had
costs
done.
and the fact that we wanted to shoulder that burden a little bit for everyone and make it easier for everyone and accessible, I think that that's incredible because it did so much for town. I mean, I was in the park majority of the day and it was awesome. And I came back and my girls at the store, we were on the Cocoa Trail, and the girls at the store said we were packed all day long. They couldn't believe it. So great day,
Excellent.
great
For
weekend. It was a
next
lot
year.
of fun.
Right, starting on next.
Ready on, yeah.
Starting on next year.
So I would add that if anyone heard the soundtrack that went with the drone show, the Harbor Springs song that was, oh, Bob. That they developed just for Harbor Springs, they've given us the rights to use that forever, so, and it's a really catchy
how
little tune. So
cool.
that's nice of the company. And actually, I did talk to them yesterday. It's time to start thinking about next year if we want the date held. We're gonna have to get together and, I mean, they're holding it right now, but we're gonna need to put a deposit down and decide, do we wanna go bigger? Do we wanna have more drones? That kind of, so that's next steps.
What was the cost of the drone show?
8,000.
8,000.
But it
But
should
that
have
was
been,
sponsored.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
but it should have been, they're still willing to work with us. Yeah, that would be the going rate, maybe 10,000 for what we have.
So if we did it the 2 nights, I mean, what we do, is that what you were thinking? Maybe the drone show both
think
nights?
we're-
I don't think we do 2 drone shows. I think we were talking about what else could we add to it to give
Yeah.
some other event that's going down downtown that
In the evening.
in the evening to get people. And we've done, I mean, in the past we had trivia, like there's some options of what we, you know, what we do. But we, just given what we saw, we'd like to be able to try to keep that momentum kind of going.
Yes, Karen.
So when I was in my twenties, I helped the Ice Fest in Aspen, and we had John Ritter come, and he was the host for the afternoon. And so maybe asking someone that's local and famous in Michigan might be fun. But that was, he was really popular. Yeah. Some of you may be too young.
I'm not. Like I'm being singled out in this room. And I'm,
You are the youngest.
yeah, well, I know who he is.
Thanks, Sarah, it's excellent.
Because I have to 9 o'clock meeting,
Oh, yeah.
and I did before, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
just a reminder, as we've had conversation, the subcommittees have to take minutes. I was going to mention that in public comment, but any subcommittee, just make sure that we take minutes. It's a crucial thing that will keep us out of lawsuits. Okay, so I just wanted to I'm reminding every board, every commission that we need to remember to take minutes on our subcommittees. Okay, you don't need to submit them. We're not going to put them online, but just if somebody asks if we took minutes, so we can refer to this is what we discussed.
Before you leave.
We have in the packet.
Yeah, I'm perfect with that. I'm making it a point to talk to everybody so that we do it.
I have a question before you leave.
Yep.
I heard that on the Monday agenda, it's going to be that they're trying to disband the DDA.
That's-
So I'm just wondering what the legalities are and how that would actually work if the city council chose to vote on that.
They will not be voted on Monday. It's gonna be a discussion item. On the tree board and on the Parks and Rec board, council can choose if they have 3 votes to disband them. We are still checking with Mr. Raymer to determine with the DDA because it's sort of a separate group, money comes from somewhere else. So it will not, we are still in the research mode of that. I appreciate you bringing it up, and it will not be voted on. It will not be voted on whether to disband them on Monday, because that's not going to be the agenda item. The agenda item is going to be just discussion about it. Is that clear? All right.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah,
All right, so.
as much sense as it can make at this moment,
Yeah,
but yeah.
if council chooses to pursue a vote on that, they don't have to. On the tree board and the parks board, the council could just have 3 members say, we want to disband, and with a resolution, and that could happen.
So I guess my follow-up question would be, outstanding contracts that we've signed, then the city would be liable for that.
I'm checking with Ray.
Okay, just all the contracts that we're choosing to sign for, lamppost painting and other things,
Right.
that then the
It'll come
city
back
would be
to the city.
liable for.
I will have better answers.
That's totally
Probably
fine.
not
Just-
even on Monday, because that's a deep dive.
I just figured I'd
Right.
catch you while you were here and
Okay.
ask you those questions real quick. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Here's the agenda itself, how you brought it. But sorry, I got a 9 o'clock, so thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Kyle. Okay, Margaret, next, the enhanced committee report.
Yes, so we've talked about some of this. Tim from Beckett and Raider brought in the board for us to look at, and I think they've stressed the fact that they're going to ask the public throughout every single step of this, what their opinions are and what and the options will be for the streetscape planning. The process will be, a basic plan, a kickoff meeting, a development of a conceptual streetscape master plan, a community open house, a community survey, a development of a preferred master plan and showcase, and then a completion, which would happen in phases of the final master plan. And they shared with us some examples of other communities and how the discussion was regarding streetscape and the use of pavers versus cement and other materials. We're still kind of talking about that for the sidewalks. How flowers would be used in the streetscape. Changes to the curbing, possibly doing bump outs, but we're kind of, sounds like we don't have enough room for that. The sidewalks, the street from building to building, Main Street is only 66 feet. And then you add the sidewalks, the parking, there's not a lot of space. And that was one of the things we were talking about, tree grates, because it actually creates more foot traffic space and people, then you don't have the maintenance of the flowers down below. And we talked about dark sky lighting, which our lampposts currently do not comply with. And maybe taking the lampposts we have and creating a little cap on them so the light's not going up. And then we're still, Becky was found out about our clock on Main and State, that it's manufactured both green and black. Special colors can be ordered, but we're still doing research on the clock donors and what their wishes are.
It's like they were working on it.
They were
the other
working
day.
on it.
They were working on it the other day.
I think they were resetting them.
They were resetting
okay.
everything, they were doing a bunch of work on it the other day and maybe cleaning the inside of it and everything. I saw it when I was walking by, so that was exciting.
Something was wrong with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Utility boxes, all those broken things all over town and outside of the CBD. Maggie, you talked to the city council about it, and what was the outcome?
So this, for me, it was because we signed a new contract to have another cable company come in and utilize the pools, and to find out that to utilize the pools, the city gets paid money. In that contract, they have a renewal every 5 years. If there is something that is not right, and also they can renegotiate every 5 years. So my point was, if we have this contract and this is what's laid out, why don't we have those contracts for AT&T and Spectrum? And they do have these back from 2002, but they can't find them right now. And from my information I'm finding is that some of the updated pricing for each poll is like $30. So if we haven't,
Updated what?
the updated pricing for polls is now up to $30. So if we haven't said to these contractors,
$30
a poll
a year?
a year.
Okay.
So, and that money is supposed to be for maintenance and that goes to the city or electrical. So my point was, we haven't really negotiated with any of these other companies, and they're not doing a good job keeping their lines clean and upkeep. We need to go back to them and say, you're not following what the contract is. But I need to go back to Nick and, until we get the new city manager, and find these contracts to pull these up, because it goes back to the waste contract that we have. We can't get out of that contract because it renews automatically. And so we really need to understand these contracts and make sure that we are tagging them each year. But I do believe that there is some information that needs to be uncovered here. So I'm not gonna let this one go, because I want it all cleaned up. And they're going all over the town, and there's poles that are really need to be replaced. If we're going that direction, we had the ability to negotiate at that time, but we didn't. We just signed it over. But we should have had a little stronger stance with these guys, so.
Who signs the contracts?
Whoever's the manager at the time, and Nick, I imagine.
And Nick?
Yeah. But this was back in 2002, and I can't find, this is why we should have all of our documents digitized, and so we can pull this information up, because it's lost right now.
Are you saying that these contracts renew automatically with no review?
I don't think we know that.
I mean,
Well,
I know
we
that when I
know
signed up
about
with,
the
when I
waste.
signed up with
We know that.
Spectrum, that's
Yeah.
how it is. So I would kind of assume that that's how they do it with everyone
We
else.
really need to be cautious about these contracts, in
Oh,
my
but we're
mind.
not the ones that sign those.
I
contracts.
agree, I
So
understand,
we're
but
getting a
I'm a
little
tax-paying individual that want the council to be accountable. And what I'm seeing is not accountability, because we can't find the contracts. And we have a decimated, if you go down Third Street, they're all broken. You got wires showing, you have wires hanging, there's no control at all. So I am gonna be outspoken on this.
Place in their contract, it says with required maintenance, there's something in that contract
They have insurance
where
and
there's a back door for us to climb through.
We do, but
By
we have-
saying you're not taking care of the equipment. Either start taking care of the equipment or we'll see you in court.
And they have the list of the individuals that are responsible, but as you know, with businesses, people change. But there is a timeline and they have an insurance coverage and they have up to a certain amount that they would be liable for in the last contract that was done. And so you would believe, and based on, if you look at the state of Michigan and you see what the price per pole is right now, it's up to $30. And from what Nick said, we're now getting just like $8 per pole. So I imagine since 2002 to now, some of that pricing might have been different. And we could have said, look, we need this to have some maintenance on it. So I just think that there's more information to uncover, and it's something that we should be pushing to find those contracts and to review them.
And I did write in the notes that I will try to follow up on that, but we need to know this is not in our hands anymore. So the progress that we made on this is, we're not handling it.
This for years.
Right, but somebody has to but we are downtown.
Right.
And we can
We
keep
will
this
keep it up.
squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? And so I'm gonna be a squeaky wheel. I would like these contracts. I would like to understand the electrical department to know what we're doing, because it's going to become a hazard.
I just think that the point we're trying to make is that now I think it's completely out of DDA's hands. It needs to come off our agenda. It's in city council, and then you as a taxpayer on Third Street, I mean, me as well, but it becomes a personal matter off the DDA. I think is where we're at with it, because there's nothing, we can really do. So, we hope the city council can follow their enlisted constituents on it.
Okay.
Maybe the mayor has something to say on that?
Have you checked with the company that has the contract? They certainly have a copy of it. They need to be one.
Well, that would be in the hands of city council. We
Yeah.
would go out, the DDA wouldn't go after that. This is personally, people can, if they're residents, like Maggie, you came up to the city council the last time. Maybe that's what it's gonna take.
Right.
Keep coming up.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, out there in the country, AT&T is now going to shut down our hard lines, our landlines. And so running a business there, it would be very opportune, if, for instance, I was in the DDA area, the DDA would be able to sort of help me, navigate, through what I'm gonna do instead. Out in Birchwood, we have all underground, so we don't have poles and we don't have that maintenance problem of weird lines, but, yeah, the whole thing of the communication is getting complicated, and, I think it will affect everyone. I can't even imagine that AT&T would suddenly say to, businesses, yeah, we're gonna shut down, your landlines.
But that's happened to me. I was trying to get I had a landline, and then I had Wi-Fi, and I had my cell phone. And my landline now is actually not a landline, like traditionally. It is more like a cell phone.
Cable modem line.
It's cable. So it's just eventually, it's gonna be obsolete.
So the wires on the poles will be obsolete.
Well, for some of it, yeah.
I mean, yet again, this is a city council issue. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can really do about it. If they do make a change, then we can help to try and facilitate. But at this point, those companies aren't making a change, and it's not a DDA problem. It's a citywide city council problem.
Thank you.
As much as we'd love to help, there's nothing we can really do. So.
But we can repaint cigarette urns and trash cans so they all match. We've had so much snow that Nate has not been able to paint them. And is there any update on Nate?
He plans, I talked with Rachel, and she thinks he can get it all done by the 4th of July, but they're only the ones that are in storage, that they're not the new ones that we bought. They're the old ones that we would just like to have available to us if we have to bring them out at the 4th of July or something, so that they do all match.
Okay. We talked about what flowers are gonna go in the flower pots, and we did not come up with a thriller, which is the tall piece that would be in the middle of the plant. And I don't know if that's actually necessary or not, but we had some options for maybe using a grass or something. We have been there was discussion with the farmer's market. Did you ever talk?
I did meet with her on, that afternoon of that day. We talked about the value of the farmer's market in downtown, and she and I are moving ahead on a plan. She had some things busy this week, but she has a survey a dot survey, good old fashioned dot survey of all the people that use the farmer's market when they come and how much it's needed and the fact that they really do need to keep their shed there. So I did meet with her and we'll be talking about that at upcoming meetings.
Okay, and this is the shed behind the New York restaurant, which is a DDA parking lot. We did sign the contract for the painting. There is going to be 3 lampposts painted this spring, and then we'll do a survey of that. We're going to have Eric Norden visit us about sometime this spring, bring him in to talk about public art. And then did we find out about, there's questions about what can be placed in the merchant's walkway? Did you?
I did speak with Raymer about that, and we will be moving that bench out of the easement as of April 1st. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
We will decide where to put it, but we will take it out of that easement.
Okay. And then the geofencing we've already talked about, and I think that's going to be a huge asset for a lot of people to use who comes into town and how long they stay. And I think that's all we have.
Excellent.
John has a question. Anyone, board members have a question?
Any board members? Think? No.
Okay,
John?
John, go ahead.
Good morning, all. I have a quick question. I want to follow up on Cora's comment about the upcoming city council meeting and perhaps have the mayor explain what the rationale behind this discussion about disbanding boards that do nothing more than try to benefit the city. Thank you.
I'm going to give him the microphone, Maggie.
I think there's some concern on the council, effectiveness of all the boards and what they've accomplished yearly and how much money they spend. I think the council just wants to look at the boards just so they're in touch with things as best they can be.
I believe that the Parks Board gave a beautiful presentation at the last meeting about everything that they've accomplished this past year, as they do every year. And I just thought I'd point that one out.
I would, if I may, I just wanted to follow up. That question is different than having an immediate discussion about disbanding them. Asking what they do, how they do it, what the benefit is certainly reasonable. Immediately jumping into a discussion about disbanding them, particularly including the DDA, seems like overreach to me.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it. Okay. Becky.
Hi, this is Lisa.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Hi, I just posted in the chat my question. Is the DDA involved in the planning in any way of the proposed north-south railway that goes from Detroit and Ann Arbor through Owasso to Clare and Petoskey?
No, I can speak to that a little bit though. I've been on that committee, off and on that committee for the last 150 years, I think.
Yeah, I know.
But no, the DDA is not involved.
Okay, because I was just wondering if you were coordinating with the resorts to potentially have them have shuttle buses to pick people up at the rail stations and create like a ski train type promotion. And then those shuttles would then bring them into downtown for dinner and movies and shopping.
In time, yes, that would be just absolutely great. But it's a little early for that.
Okay, okay, because I personally would love to have rail service here in northern Michigan because I use rail all the time.
Me too.
Yep.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks. Okay.
Um,
Directors.
Benny, okay, I'm gonna talk fast because I have another appointment that I have to leave for too. I thought this was gonna go a lot more quickly than it did this morning. I did go to the MDA meeting last week. We had some great sessions. You can see the listing of them there. We had a wrap up of that meeting yesterday, and we thought it was one of the best that we've ever had. So it'll be online. I can send the link to anybody who wants to see it if you want to tune it. It'll be a couple more days before they get it up there. Also, the day before was Legislative Advocacy Day, and that was at the Capitol. We do meet with the legislators that day. We give them lunch. I did speak with Parker Fairbairn that day. I was pleased that he did attend and had a nice chat with him. He did talk with me a little bit about TIF, because that's why we're there. That's why the MDA goes, is to let the legislators know about tax and increment financing. That's why we're there. And he said, I'm in your court. I'm all behind you. So that was good to know, because I had never had that discussion with him. And the other thing I would highlight here is I've been going to the staff meetings at City Hall. And it's helped me quite a bit. And I hope that I can continue to do that with a new city manager. That's been a good thing for me to do. These are the dates that are coming up. Now, I would tell you, they're in stone pretty much right now, but I'm going to need another 24 hours before I publish them and promote them. So what we have coming up for the streetscape master plan is these following dates to get us through all of the planning. April 8th. Right now we have the boards that Tim brought, and they're out in the lobby here. I think that's what he came for, is to leave them there. So we'll promote that. April 8th is a DDA board meeting. We'll have the concept plan, the first concept plan presentation to the DDA, open to the public. Anyone is welcome. April 15th, we'll have a community open house, and that's one of the things I have not been able to schedule yet. Hopefully it will be at City Hall. If we can't have it here, then we probably will reschedule, because I don't know where else it would be. So just don't broadcast these dates until I have them exactly firm. Then on June 10th at our board meeting, we would review the community input that we had gotten at the previous board meeting. July 20th would be when they unveil their preferred streetscape master plan showcase, is what they call it, and take more comment. And then August 12th, they will have put all that comment back in, and we would get the final plan then. Final plan is a product that we will then have some concrete cost estimates. We'll be able to decide how much we can do in the following year. Might not be that much, but we'll have to start looking at ways to finance. And then if anything that we don't do, I hate this phrase, but it will be in a book on a shelf to be referred to, so that we always know this was the plan that was accepted by the city. And actually he doesn't have on here, because Tim doesn't have on here. We'll then have to get council's approval on this, but these are the plans that Becca and Rader is involved in these meetings. So we'll know what we're going to do, and it'll be there, and it will be accepted and approved, and we go back to it as a reference. It can always be changed, it can always be amended, but it will be completed. It's in our plan, our downtown plan, to do this, and we will have satisfied one more thing in the plan.
Will that get in the newspaper somehow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It'll be everywhere. Everywhere we can put it.
Website, Chamber News,
Any public?
Is the 22,500 take us to the end of the August 12th? On that handout that you gave us last week, it said construction documents. So is it taking us all the way to construction documents, 22,000?
it will not include construction, but it will include construction costs. Yeah.
So an estimate.
Soft cost, an estimate, yeah.
And we can just have more
It will not
clarity.
include final construction documents with that.
We'll just have more clarity as we get it.
And the construction costs change from year to year, and if we can only do a little bit in 27, I don't know what it'll cost in 28, so.
Wendy?
I'm just curious, I'm not aware that there's a tentative agenda that's published.
Oh, for the city council?
Tentative city council.
Is there?
I believe it was brought up at the Parks Board meeting last night.
I know, so once again, the agenda is published Friday. today's Wednesday, Parks talked about it yesterday. Is there some way that they see an agenda before it's published?
I don't know, I didn't see anything, so I don't know how that.
I don't see the agenda until Friday, so I don't know how citizens can know what's on the agenda before it's published on Friday.
If it was discussed.
If it's discussed in public, then it,
But how does the public know?
Well, is it gonna happen?
The Parks meeting.
How would I know? It hasn't been published until Friday. The mayor sets the agenda.
I guess that would be
Mayor.
a question for the city manager, I mean.
Right, so that's something I'll be asking him. How is this rumor going around town when it isn't published until Friday?
But it seemed like
But
Tom
it's
knew.
irresponsible to be talking about things when it's not published. It's just spreading rumors and creating discord.
well, it also, it seems hard to prepare for an attack when boards are gonna get attacked at city council and then they only have 2 days to prepare.
You're gonna have to go with published agenda, which isn't coming out till Friday.
Wonderful, then we'll start then.
We'll be looking forward to seeing it. I mean. I
All of
can't,
us, including me. I haven't seen.
I don't know, I don't know if the agenda's, I know the agenda's
I
not
know it's
posted.
discussed in public at meeting, so that's me.
Once again, the Parks doesn't have any more access.
I understand that, but I mean, how any of us would have heard about it was from that meeting.
But I go back to the main point. The agenda is published on Friday. How can anybody have seen it? I haven't seen it. So
I don't think
I
anyone.
don't think I made a reference that,
clean it up as fact.
I'm saying that my understanding was it was asked to be put on the agenda. As an agenda item, so how would they go forward? How would we plan a defense basically on the attack on our board?
Well, Kyle was even saying that.
He was completely agreeing with
It
that,
is
yeah.
going on the agenda, so I mean, we have confirmation that's going on the agenda. From the city manager.
But you had started out with it before then.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't ask for it to be put on.
Kyle, how this happened, because it shouldn't be happening, should it?
There's nothing that this board had to do with it whatsoever.
But you're bringing it up, so you're continuing to spread the rumor.
Well, I mean, I guess it's only a rumor if it really doesn't happen, so we'll see what happens on Friday.
We will.
One of the things that has always been odd for me is that the agenda for city council meetings always comes out so late. So late, it only gives people, you know, a day or two to
Over the weekend.
prepare for things. So, yeah, it's part of the process problem, I think.
City council problem.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, I should have put in my promotions. We're canceling the April promotions meeting, so if you're planning to come, don't come. We'll be back at it in May.
Wonderful, thanks for the update.
Excellent. Okay, it's 9:27. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you for everyone for coming. I appreciate it.